Hi, good evening. I'd like to welcome you back to Poem Praise 2. We're going to move right along in racial, religious imagery, and psychological confusion. Take 3. And it goes like this. Of course, unchecked independence can lead to anarchy and imperialism. Those who identify with the image of God as self feel confident and correct in exploiting the resources of others. With such a mentality, one can comfortably take control over another's resources because they feel that they have divinely given right to do so. On the other hand, those under the influence of the alien image feel they have no claim on any resources. The consequence is a persistent dependency, which comes from the mentality that sees the creator as being identified with another group. One of the persisting difficulties facing African American people is a difficulty to think independently. We are constrained by the perception that creativity and innovation are the exclusive privilege of those who are similar to the image of divinity. Our scholars are limited to imitating the scholarship of independent Caucasian thinkers. We analyze our situation and the nature of the world in general exclusively from the frame of reference of Euro-Americans. We approach the solution of problems as if the nature of the problem of the former slave and descendants of African civilization are the same as those of former slave masters and immigrants from Europe. The consequence is a persistence of the more devastating problem that we have as a people. Example, social, economic, political, and motivational. The image of the Creator sets the tone for the potential of creativity in the human sphere. Those who are alienated, from the image of the Creator do not attribute strong characteristics of creativity to themselves. Therefore, productivity can at best be imitative of those who are viewed to be in the image of the Creator. Again, the problem stems from a stifled independence based upon the psychological straitjacket of seeing God portrayed as other than oneself. Lacking in creativity, we are unable to go into our own experience and reap the benefits of our God-given gifts. We laud Freud and fail to see the value of our own psychological effectiveness and enduring the psychological traumas experienced collectively as an oppressed people. We adore Marx, but fail to recognize the superiority of our intuitive economic concepts, which gave us economic subsistence through unity. With minimum resource and in defiance of the Marxist dialect, we proclaim Dewey's educational philosophy. We're failing to articulate the dynamics of the feat of our own education in an environment which prohibited our very own literacy. Our failure to study our own experiences and utilize the benefits of that experience is a clear defect in our social effectiveness. Our lack of confidence is our unique experience, and reality has its root in our perception that we do not have equal access to the presence of the Creator because He does not look like us. Persistently haunted by the image of the vine, we consistently seek our leaders or authorities who resemble the appearance of the Caucasian image of divinity. The real irony is the number of highly educated and intelligent African Americans who are literally locked in intellectually to the authority and the intellectual leadership of non African people. The authority may be Marx, Freud, Skinner, Gloria Steinheim, or the Pope. But the underlying basis for the legitimacy of the expert is his or her similarity to the Caucasian religious images. This is not, however, to discredit the presence of viable and effective ideas in each of these and many other European and non African thinkers. People are no more denied access to truth by their color than they are given chosen access to the truth by their color. One problem for African American advancement as people is our tendency to reject the authority and leadership of those who do not have Caucasian features, and we rather faithfully and uncritically accept the leadership or authority of anyone who possesses those features. It is almost as if people with African features cannot be authorities unless they have been authenticated and credentialed by the highest European or Caucasian authorities. Only then is a non Caucasian person viewed as an authority. The only exception to this rule is the situation of the fundamentalist minister who claimed to the authority is that he has been called. He then identifies the voice of his calling as being precisely the same Caucasian feature who can wash you whiter than snow. This called representative is then given unbridled authority even when he may not represent the self-interest of the people he is leading. This divine representative can then have the legitimacy of the Caucasian God who is so highly reverent. The point is the same whether one is authorized by Harvard or call. The source of legitimization is identical. Although the focus of this discussion has been on the situation of African Americans, it is just as true in other cultures where the Euro-Caucasian image of divinity is gone. The African nations most strongly under the influence of this alien image are less effective in determining their own destiny. They all have experts from the other nations telling them what to do, not only with their technology, but with their religion, their social and political philosophy as well. They have limited ability to exercise autonomy and self-government and in respect for indigenous leadership because the highest authority has been identified in non-African appearance. Dr. Edward Blyland makes another relevant, there it is, observation on the impact of elevating the Caucasian image of God. The Christian Negro, abnormal in his development, pictures God and all beings remarkable for their moral and intellectual qualities with the physical characteristics of Europeans, and deems in honor if he can propinate a mixture of his blood, however irregularly achieved in outward appearance, at least to the ideal thus forced upon him of the physical complements of all excellence. In this way, he loses that sense of the dignity of human nature, observable in a Mohammedan brother. In other words, Dr. Blyland is suggesting that those Christians who have taken on the idea that the only way to be excellent is to be like a Caucasian are the same people who believe the only qualities which are civilized qualities are those associated with Caucasians. Standards of excellence in family life, culture life, moral life, dress, manners, language, and everything are identified with them. There is no dignity in being oneself, suggests Dr. Blyland. Too often the conclusion is reached that the absence of some of these qualities among African Americans and the persisting aspiring of European mannerisms and cultures represents a fundamental deficiency in the conduct of African people. The argument suggests an innate and genetically determined intellectual deficit among black people are extensive and compelling. Many of these qualities of self-negation and inadequate social development of African people with the European context can be attributed directly as a consequence of this issue of this discussion. In this regard, Iman Rev. Deem Muhammad raises a penetrating question. What would happen to the minds of Caucasian people if black people would suddenly come into power with their mentality and with their love for religion? What would happen if nappy-headed black Jesuses were put all over their land and throughout their homes and in all their churches? What would happen to the minds over a period of 300 years if they kept coming to churches seeing the images as their Redeemer, seeing our images as their prophets, their apostles, their angels? They would be reduced to inferiority because the image before them of the supreme model of superiority will be black and not white. Imam Muhammad places the problem in the broader context of psychological process in this hypothetical image. The influence of this Caucasian image on the psyches of non-Caucasian people is no worse than would be the influence of a black image on the psyches of non-black people. The reduction of people to a state of inferiority represents a reprehensible form of mind control of the worst kind. It also becomes the basis of ensuring the continued psychological enslavement of any people under such an influence. Yeah, I just want you to go ahead and think about that. Let that just sink in. Let it sink in and marinate. That does complete section 3. Well, take 3. Not section 3. Well, it is section 3. Take 3. But we do have one more section to go. That's why I was letting you know it's not the last of this section 3. Our next section is going to be entitled The Solution. We have completed this much. We have this much to go. Ooh, yeah, see it? Yeah. And then we done got through this book. See it? Breaking the Chains of Psychological Slavery. Can you see that? Naeem Akbar, PhD. So stay tuned to Poem Praise 2. I want you to have a blessed rest of the evening. Be thy will. I'll be hollering at you real soon. All right. Later, y'all.